Hello everyone and welcome to Life Lessons Inside of Movies. For this episode, I'll be talking to you guys about Southpaw. And this is a movie that I would honestly put in my top 5 greatest boxing films, in my opinion. And along with that, I also feel that Jake Gyllenhaal really should have been nominated for Academy Award for this movie, but he wasn't, so I assume it's rigged. But regardless, so give you guys a quick recap, spoiler warning just to be safe. This is about a man named Billy Hope, which he's a boxer, he's 43-0, he's at the top of his game, nothing can go wrong. But then his wife ends up getting murdered, and his life completely spirals out of control. He makes one bad decision after another. His daughter ends up getting taken away from him. So now he's trying to fight to get back into the ring and earn money for his family. Along with that, trying to get his family back because his daughter, like I said, just got taken away from him. Now, this movie, it's an emotional journey. Like, I remember watching it in theaters, and I came out of it like, there was part of me that was exhausted. Like, I'm just sitting in the movie like, is this really happening to him? Like, damn, like this guy endured a lot. I know it was just a movie, but you feel the emotion through it. And when you sit in the car, yes, it is a happy ending, but you more sit there and just reflect on the movie. But naturally, again, if there's a lot of life being thrown at this character, naturally there's going to be a lot of life lessons inside of the movie. So let's just start off with the number one life lesson that I caught in this movie, which is, who are you leaning on? Who are you relying on? And here's the thing is that relying and leaning may not be what you think it is, because usually a lot of people think that refers to money. And you hear a lot of people even say, I'm the breadwinner, I support my family. In the movie, Billy's name is on all the checks, his name is on all the bills. Financially, everything's fine. But he is relying heavily on other people to make sure that he stays sane. You got his wife that's trying to keep his head on straight. You got his accountant that's telling him when he's spending too much money. You got the promoters that are getting the deals to get the money in. You got the crew that he's working with to make sure that they kick him into shape so he can go out and fight the boxing matches. Literally, he's relying on so many different people, and he's heavily relying on them to where when his wife ends up dying, all of a sudden he doesn't have anyone to keep his head on straight. When his promoter leaves, now he doesn't have any money coming in. And he doesn't even have his best friends, which were his trainers, because they all ditched him and went to another fighter. So ask yourself that. If you were to completely lose everything, are you emotionally stable, at least to set up a foundation to build yourself up again? It's a real question, and you guys honestly got to ask yourself that. Now, number 2 to 4, I feel like this is the main central life lesson in the movie. But I kind of broke them up to make sure that like they have like their own little individual category. So let's just start off with number 2. In the movie, Forrest Whitaker and him, they're in the bar. And Forrest tells him, he's like, what did you do to get here? And Billy's like, well, my wife got killed. My kid got taken away. He's like, no, what did you do? And then Billy flips the chair. And then Forrest is like, look, see that? That's what you did. That's what you did. Billy has an anger issue. He blows up really quickly. And this is the thing that you guys have to realize is that your first initial reaction is always an emotional reaction. It's never a logical reaction. So in the movie, he gets pissed off. And when you think about it, rightfully so, because he's a boxer. He gets paid to be pissed off, to show his aggression. But you have to learn how to switch that off and not always think emotionally, but think logically. Like in the movie, when his wife ends up getting killed, if you would have thought logically, which was, yes, the guy just insulted my wife. Naturally, any guy will want to kill this dude. But it's like, okay, I'm going to put her in a dangerous situation. I don't want to do that to her. I got to get her out of here. Thinking logically rather than emotionally. And that leads into lesson number 3, which was towards the end when Forrest Whitaker's training Billy and they're punching the bag. He's like, you got 2 weapons. You got a shotgun and you got a grenade. Both of them, you are trying to kill your opponent. So Billy's whole life was on offense, trying to kill his opponent, trying to get his point across, trying to be the man, trying to be the number one. He's like, I'm going to introduce you to something called defense. To where if you're all you're doing is trying to knock the guy's head off, you already lost. So by playing defense from a boxing metaphor point of view, you sit back, you pay attention, you're looking at what they're doing, you can read the terrain, you can figure out how to react. So that's the other thing, is that most of life is how you react to it rather than what actually happens to you. So when you guys can really, really process that, when it's like, yes, life may punch you in the face, but if you realize, okay, it punched me in the face, but then here's how I can prevent that. Here's how I will not be able to escalate that by doing this. And then lastly, at least within this platform, number 4, they do a great job of explaining what to do during a stressful situation. Like I said, in the movie, Billy ends up mentoring this one kid. His name is Hoppy. Hoppy ends up getting killed by his dad. And they find out, and Forrest Whitaker's just punching the bag. He's pissed off. And rightfully so, you have to burn off energy. But then there comes a point where they're sitting down on the ring and they're talking. The old Billy would have grabbed the gun, ran over to the dad, found him this was for Hoppy, pulled the trigger. Billy would have probably went away for life. But it does a great job of explaining where he's like, Forrest Whitaker talks about it. Maybe God's trying to tell me something. He's like, what it is, I just don't know. But maybe he's trying to tell me something. So if we all take that approach, which is if we sit back and not want to react on emotion rather than logic, maybe we learn something from it. Maybe through every single stressful, hard situation that's ever thrown at us, we can sit back and take a lesson that we can better our lives for the future. Number 5 is be careful when you say you lose everything. Because Billy, he ends up losing his wife. He felt like that was his everything. That was the love of his life. He grew up with her his entire life. He married her. He created this life for her, and she died. He felt that that was it. He was making stupid decisions. He was living his life as legit. He lost every single thing about him. But all of a sudden, he makes one stupid decision, and his daughter ends up getting taken away. And there's a good chunk of the movie where after his daughter gets taken away, he doesn't even mention his wife. He mentions, I got to get my daughter back. I got to get her a house. I got to make sure she's safe. She's my daughter. She belongs to me. So he's playing his life as if he lost everything when in reality, he didn't. So ask your guys self this question. When you feel that you've lost everything and you want to act that way and you want to throw your hands up and tell the world, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? Why did I lose everything? Did you really lose everything? You may have lost a big chunk of something, but did you really, really lose everything? Number 6. Now, number 6 and 7 was a big life lesson for me. Like, this was something that I learned watching the movie. And so, like I said, whenever I do these videos, whenever I do this podcast, it's not just for you guys. I really do learn stuff in this too. Now, number 6, whenever I look on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the social media, they always talk about finding a mentor. And a lot of movies, they talk about this, finding a mentor. And it's also find someone who has what you want and you go out there and you model them. And usually we want to find the very, very successful people. Billy's mentor in this movie was not someone that you wanted to model your life after. He was a guy that he was working at a boxing gym. He lived in his boxing gym. He didn't have a wife. He didn't have kids. Well, the only kids that he had were the kids that came to box in his gym. But other than that, he didn't have anything going for him. He was always going to the bar. He was always getting drunk. So why would you want to model your life after this guy? And I had to take a step back and really pay attention to this life lesson. Because not one person in this life has their life completely together. They may have a great business, they may have a great wife, but their relationship is crap and their kids are crap. Or they may have a great relationship with their wife, with their kids, but their business is crap, their financials crap. So you'll never find someone with every single thing that you want. But in the movie, he kind of realized, okay, I know how to box. Like, he's been around the game for a while. He's been around the sport, so he knows how to box. His name's big enough to where after his suspension was up in the movie, he could have gone and self-promoted and got his money. What he needed was a different perspective. What he needed was a new output on life. That's where Forrest Whitaker came into play. No, he wasn't someone that you wanted to model your life after, but he was someone that can kick your butt when you needed it to, and also give you a different outlook on life. So I think that was one of the big life lessons, is that you need to find a mentor that is suited for you. What is something specific that you need, and find a mentor that you can model that. Now, number 7, and this one, like I said, it was a big life lesson for me in this one, because I remember a long time ago I watched Godfather 2, and in the movie he ends up saying, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. And it took this movie for me to finally understand what he was saying. Billy ends up getting betrayed by his promoter, 50 Cent. And this is the thing that I really realize, is that you have to be careful who the wolves are in your life. But a lot of people want to say that you got to cut the wolves out and don't let that type of negative energy inside of your career, inside of your hut, whatever it is. But here's the other thing to it, is that for you to succeed in anything, for you to achieve something great, you are going to need wolf friends. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and it's very true. But you are going to need people that they are going to take advantage of you, but in some retrospect, you also need to take advantage of them. To where they're two wolves like chomping at the same piece of meat, chomping at the same piece of prey. This is something you guys will need to be able to do in your life. But then here's the thing in the movie, is that all of a sudden Billy wasn't a wolf anymore. His wife got killed, he turned into a sheep. But 50 Cent, the wolf, still wanted to eat. Ended up eating Billy. So that's the other thing to it, because here's the backtrack a little bit. Billy, could he have really gotten where he was? Like, yes, he was a good boxer, but his name, his selling ability, could it really gotten there without 50 Cent? Probably not. So that's the thing, is that you have to realize, like, okay, you guys are both wolves chomping the same piece of meat, but eventually one of the wolves will turn into a sheep. And if it's you, you have to figure out when it's time to get out. You could still pull the plug and say, I'm not going to do this, and back out without you getting completely taken advantage of. Now, number 8. Now, this is the last one, and it's a very simple one, seeing that I just dropped 2 hard ones on you guys. Now, this one is simply help others. In the movie, Billy, his life, like I said, it's spiraling out of control. He's in no position to mentor anybody. But then he ends up mentoring Hoppy. He ends up creating a bond with them. And it actually works out really, really well in the movie. And you even see Billy that he's starting to care about somebody else rather than his own personal problems. So one of the simple answers to life is that when life punches you in the face, help other people. It puts life in a whole different perspective. And it's honestly really, really good for your soul. That's a God-given truth. So those are my life lessons inside of Southpaw. I really highly encourage you guys to watch this movie. This movie is really, really good. You're going to feel emotionally drained coming out of it, but it is well worth the watch. And when you guys watch it, tell me what you guys think about it. Maybe you guys caught a life lesson that I missed. Hit me up on Twitter at ChristianG7752. And as always, guys, not every movie was meant to entertain us. Some were made to teach us. So until next time, thank you guys for listening.